Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 3, Episode 24, a.k.a. Episode 100. Where we watch Survivor, Season 37, Episode 1. And I'm Chris Lorenz.
Robert Kitts.
I'm Harrison Hoffman.
This is James.
The island nation of Madagascar.
Pretty good name this week, Max.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. All right. We're finally here, guys. 100. It's taken us a long time.
So we're in syndication now, right? We get that syndication money?
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be great. We get that syndication money.
Seinfeld, pay us. Pay up. That's how that works, right?
Yep.
Seinfeld definitely gets to pay us.
Yeah.
We've done all the Seinfeld reality TV shows that are there, so like we're good. We're done. We've done it. We made it, guys.
We did it.
We're
Cars
big.
and comedians getting coffee?
Is that a reality show?
Yeah.
That's not a reality show.
It kind of is.
Is it a talk show?
It's a talk show. You're right.
Yeah. That's if we do that Kramer reality tour in New York, maybe
Oh.
that could be a reality show. All right, let's
All
steam back here.
Survivor.
Harrison, you got the show description for us?
The Emmy Award-winning series returns this fall for its 37th season themed David vs. Goliath. This edition features 20 new castaways divided into two groups of 10 strangers. Castaways who make up the David tribe have overcome adversity in their lives, while castaways on the Goliath tribe tend to capitalize on their individual advantages and use it against their opponents. This extreme game of social politics will focus on the underdogs versus the favorites and reveal that every Goliath has an Achilles heel, while every David has a secret weapon. These castaways will be forced to compete against each other with the same ultimate goal: to outwit, outplay, and outlast each other in an attempt to become the sole survivor. The show returns to the Mamanuca Islands in Fiji with Emmy Award winner Jeff Probst as host. That's Survivor on CBS.
Can I give Harrison a shout out for the Mamanuca Island?
Mamanuca.
You said that with such confidence. I just
Took me a lot of practice to get that one down.
Well done. Well done.
When did you start practicing?
Right before I read that word.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good reading right there. Appreciate that.
That was a hefty show description.
It was. I warned you guys before. It was a big one.
I think when you have 37 seasons of something, the description gets a lot more detailed than some of the other garbage we watched.
This is the
Yeah.
first time we've done a season 37 or higher, right?
I
Has to
mean,
be.
challenge is close.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Challenge is
true.
only we did it at 30.
We did
Yeah.
it 29.
29.
But if you count the challenge with the stars or whatever the hell, the other knockoffs thing,
Oh, yeah. That would bring it up to like 35.
maybe 40.
I think this might be the longest running show we've done, though.
Yeah.
Definitely.
for sure.
The one is it the one with the most seasons?
That we've done? I think so.
Or just overall.
Over just like
How many seasons of Real World have there been?
Not
we haven't done the
37.
real world though.
I know we haven't done it, but
Yet.
that's a potential one with more.
Real World could be in the conversation, but I don't think they're pumping out as many seasons.
They're
as
not
Survivor.
pumping out the same number of seasons. They're in like 3 seasons a year or something crazy.
Survivor is.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I believe the longest running reality show is The Mole. They started filming a 3rd season, and the mole still hasn't revealed themselves, so they couldn't release it.
It's just the meta game still going on.
Oh man.
But that is the key question that I think I have with this is like, when did this show first come on? Like, it's been on the air forever, as long as I can remember.
Summer of 2000.
Shit. Was that during the writer's strike? When was the writer's strike?
No,
That was-
James. That was like
that was-
2007.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
okay.
when we were in
This is
college.
Pre-writer's strike.
Way
This
pre.
is like the first competition reality show.
Yeah.
This is pre 9/11.
It's true.
That's correct. Yeah.
This is definitely the birth of like competition reality shows. I mean,
Whereas
effectively.
like Real World was kind of the birth of just like regular reality drama shows.
Hangout drama shows.
Yeah. Which didn't really catch on until after like all these other reality shows kind of,
Mhm.
people started watching them, but like which started with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had Survivor, and you had Amazing Race pretty quick on its heels after that, I think too.
There was a lot of copycats immediately,
Like The Mole.
Yeah.
which we've done.
What a great show.
Hell of a show.
All right, moving back to Survivor now.
But they're talking at the start of Survivor, like it. People know, but like it's just was it like It's crazy how popular that show was for like the first like 2 or 3 years.
It's a bona fide cultural phenomenon when that show came out.
I mean, so let's get into that. So I have seen the first season of Survivor, and that's it. I've seen a handful of other episodes.
Wow.
Because my parents have seen every other season of Survivor.
Wow.
you
There-
watched season 1, you just walked away. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I did.
And they're
I just kind of stopped watching TV pretty much at that point.
and they're 37 seasons deep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think my dad has actually seen every season, but my mom has only seen seasons 2 through 37.
I think that they might like Survivor more than I like the challenge, if that's even possible.
I don't know. I feel like they're just like, you know, watch it every year, and that's what they do.
Sure,
Like
it's
I
a
don't know.
habit.
I don't know if they ever really thought about like how much they actually like it at this
Right.
point.
It's just like, oh, Survivor's on again. That's what we watch on whatever
Wed-
night of the week
Wednesdays
it's on.
or-
Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's
Survivor
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Definitely, it's definitely just a like you know
It's a
somebody
show
buying
that's there.
lottery tickets every week. It's very similar. I
Let's
think.
get in that habit.
Should we have had your dad on this podcast?
Expert.
Drop the ball.
You know, he's gonna be here this weekend, so
Oh, we gotta hit the pause.
we gotta stop. Get him here. I don't know. Probably not. But yeah. So I really enjoyed the first season of Survivor. I thought it was like kind of a fun, like the crazy naked guy was really cool. Like that was just kind of like just a cultural phenomenon at the time too. So it was just like
I remember people talking like, have you seen this crazy show where they're eating rats? Like they're they're just living on this island eating rats. Like this is a show that's on TV, and like it was crazy at the time because there weren't shows like that. Like
And then Fear
Yeah.
Factor came along. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna eat rat and bugs all the goddamn time.
yeah,
That's all it is.
It-
but,
yeah.
but this show did press the envelope into like kind of a whole new genre of space, right? Like that's how I recalled it. I didn't know if there was other shows, but I feel like this is really what's kind of like stoked a lot of the other like genres that we now kind of like take for granted.
I
This
think
is true for the U.S.
Mm.
Big Brother started in the Netherlands in '97.
oh, interesting.
John de Mol.
I feel
Mol, de Mol. That's his name.
I feel like this is like the mecca of our podcast. Like this started it all. Every like branch of show we've seen comes from like this. Like this is highly what starts most of all of the trends that we saw.
It's influential in so many different ways. It's really influential production wise. The concept of a competition reality show, the strategy behind it. Like I remember watching the first season, and some dude formed an alliance, and you're like, I didn't even know you could do that in this situation.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, there's definitely a thing where like people are like they're cheating.
yeah. There's like, and they were calling it like there's like the alliance because like no like it was the only people that thought to do it. Like
Right.
it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they essentially like laid out the formulas and patterns and stuff that like has now evolved into other like flavors of it. But I think it all kind of stems back to here. There's so much as we were watching this. There's so much from the challenge that is direct like shot for shot of this kind of stuff from a pattern and like formula layout. There's so many other elements of like any of the like singing shows or talent shows that like kind of come from this. The whole concept of immunity. We've already talked about alliances.
Yep.
There's just so many things that like all roads kind of point back, it seems, to this or the show from the Netherlands. I didn't
Yeah.
know, I didn't know.
You
about
don't
the
know what Big
Netherlands.
Brother is?
The what? Yeah, Big Brother.
Yeah,
Was that before this? I don't know
Yeah.
the history of it.
well, it wasn't in the U.S.
Mm.
but that's the Netherlands show, Big Brother.
Oh, so it wasn't a Survivor show.
No, but like we're saying that might have been the first competition reality show. We were saying that maybe Survivor is the first competition reality show.
I see.
it's the
Yeah.
first big one in America.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have any of these shows without it.
For sure.
right.
Although, like, Road Rules definitely started before this, right?
Road Rules was definitely before this.
So, like, you know, there's definitely some.
There's-
There's a little predating this, but nothing like
So-
that was anywhere near as popular.
What I heard is MTV is
Oh.
the creator of reality TV.
Well, yeah, like
Definitely.
the challenge is for sure one of the early competition
Yeah,
reality
I
shows.
mean, I know about the challenge. Okay,
No, but
easy-
that's the
easy.
real world. Real world. That's where that
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
from.
Real
Right.
World is definitely considered one of the first reality shows. Like,
Got it.
I can't say definitively that it's the first one, but it's like early 90s. It's before Big Brother UK. It's before this. It's before
hmm
like anything I can think of.
Road Rules was 1995.
95
Oh,
Road
damn.
Rules.
Take that, Netherlands.
That's right.
That's
right.
wild.
All right, let's. I don't think in season 1 they had immunity idols, did they?
They just had the team one. They
Yeah.
didn't have all these
Yeah.
individual.
individual-
Hidden.
I think the challenge is to steal those.
There's this whole basically side game that has apparently developed over these 37 seasons. I haven't seen a bunch of any of the recent seasons at all, where like they just hide a bunch of immunity idols on the island. So like instead of just fucking chilling, sitting around all the time, like people actually just have something to go do, and so they go explore the island and try and find these idols.
I mean, that's the biggest difference I can see in this between season 1 and season 37.
For sure.
The production value is much better, but like
That's arguable.
I feel like the challenge is we'll get into it because we can talk about it.
Has Jeff Probst been there the whole time?
He has, and it doesn't look like he's aged a day. Like that guy looks the same as he did in 2000.
He's wearing the same clothes he wore back then.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Well,
He has,
it feels like his face doesn't move as like it used to move.
I have some
And,
questions
you
about
know,
that.
Maybe done some things to preserve that look from 2000.
I don't know if we want to hold the is Jeff Probst the Joker conversation till later, or if we should get into that right now.
Well, let's
should-
let's roll back a second where
Let him do it.
I just say what happened in this episode,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
we can get into the minutia of whether Jeff Probst is the Joker and that other dude is Batman. Okay. So they start off the show. The intro. The two groups come in on two different boats. One is considered the Goliath group. One is considered the David group. The Davids had to work to get where they are in life, apparently, and the Goliaths didn't, or something. I don't really understand exactly
dude,
how
it's
the
Davids
Goliaths.
and Goliaths.
Regardless,
Self-explanatory.
then they do some sort of challenge where the winners got like a bunch of wood to make their shelter, and then they go back and it's fucking pouring for like who the fuck knows how long.
Days.
And like sometimes it's not raining, but most of the time it's pouring, and they have to build this shelter. And there's a bunch of drama. Whoever is like doing the work and telling people to do the work, which we'll get into, I'm sure. And then they go do this challenge, and Goliaths win, Davids lose, and then on the way back, one of the teammates, which I have written down somewhere, Pat, like gets injured on the boat somehow on the way back. It has to be airlifted out of the island, and so they didn't have to do the immunity idol thing. He's just gone. And
Yep.
that's it. That's the episode.
That's the episode.
There you go.
There's lots of minutia supposedly around Jeff Probst.
Yeah.
So we're kind of starting to get like, you know, this guy gets injured, and Jeff rolls in, and like whether it's the pouring rain or whether he's looking at a guy who's in serious pain, he just got a big old smile on his face that's just like plastered on there, and it doesn't seem to move, and it's a little weird.
Kind of reminds me of that guy who's a little too happy in Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Nobody else has watched Parks and Rec?
I've
We've
watched
all seen it,
every episode of Parks and Rec.
You got to be more specific than that.
Rob something?
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
The
Rob
healthy
Lowe?
guy.
Rob Traeger, yeah. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe's character.
Yeah, Rob Lowe's
yeah.
character.
Oh,
he always smiles
yeah,
a bit
yeah,
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Chris Traeger.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, if we were going
What's that actor's name? It doesn't matter.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe. Rob
and,
Lowe's character. Who's that?
and Pat can be Batman because in the latest Batman movie he broke his back, right? So
Oh yeah.
Justice League, he broke his back.
we
That's
don't
not a
count
real
that.
Batman
That's
movie,
not a real
okay?
Batman movie.
Firstly,
All right,
You know, Dark Knight Rises.
you don't believe in the Batfleck?
I don't believe in that DC garbage nonsense.
Oh.
What do you mean?
like-
Batman is DC regardless.
The Christian Bale movies were DC
Whatever that new fucking bullshit was horrid.
All right.
You mean the Zack Snyder cinematic
Zack
universe?
Snyder's corrupted dream on heroin and ecstasy overdose
Whoa.
combines together in a mutacious flood of nonsense.
Sucker Punch?
Put it on the back of the
I don't
box.
understand the sucker
I
punch
like the
reference at all,
quote.
but yeah.
All right.
Sucker Punch is another Zack Snyder movie. That's not
Nobody
Batman
gives a
themed.
fuck about Sucker Punch or Zack Snyder and his bullshit Max.
No.
Trying to derail me
James,
from my quote about
James,
this
shut
shitty,
the fuck up.
awful
I was the
movie.
first to this anti-DC train.
No, you weren't.
Woo woo.
All
Can't
right,
do that.
guys, let's roll back.
Max got me all worked up on this.
You
movie.
guys
Let's
should
roll
fight
it
about
back.
how much you
All right,
Should we
let's-
need to do a Snyderverse pod episode?
We
I
might have to.
invented the boyfriend experience. Okay, James. He doesn't even
do we have to explain that for the pod?
He doesn't even get that reference. He wasn't here.
Yeah, he wasn't here for
Yeah,
that
you,
reference.
he makes references that I don't know about. That's cool.
All right. Side note: we watched another episode of Gigolos, and
It,
the
wa-
a-
it was my first episode of Gigolos.
Mine
and,
too.
and like the agency head comes in, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired of all this, like stigma around some sort of gigolos and how all their clients are blah blah blah." So I came up with this. I want to get some hotter chicks in here, so I came up with the term boyfriend experience.
What a concept.
He came up with the term, so he's definitely number one.
He's an innovator.
Anyway,
So Survivor.
Survivor.
So teams are introduced. And the Goliath people looked real happy about this whole situation.
Oh yes.
The David people, they looked kind of pretty moot. Like they're like, all right, I guess this is what's happening.
A little intimidated.
I think so.
The main thing I took away from the whole intro of the two teams thing was Jeff was just real in on this. This is a social experiment, and we're doing the metaphor of David versus Goliath. It's like, give it a rest, Jeff.
I
Like,
definitely get the sense that this whole David versus Goliath concept was Jeff Probst's idea, and so he's really trying to sell it when he's in the show.
I
I
mean,
wonder
he
if
is
like every season is like this now. If Jeff is just selling that whatever that new theme is. just-
37 seasons deep, we're digging for concepts. This one's gonna take a little bit to explain, so you gotta bear with me.
I mean, he is an executive producer on the show. so-
Survivor. Fish versus barrel.
So he's definitely trying to sell this whole thing for sure.
yeah.
Like, if this show goes down, he goes down with it, I think. Like, he's going down with the ship.
He's making plenty of money from the show, and he wants that to continue.
Yeah, like, clearly.
Clearly.
So this show definitely reminds me of a lot of just like network TV where like ABC and like the news were just like, gotta get everyone on this show has some sort of sob story. Every single person. And they have to go through it. And now everyone's emotionally invested because they have some sort of sob story. Like,
Why would you pick somebody that doesn't have a good backstory when you can pick from anybody to be on this show?
because I don't know, because they'd be good in this
You're just like,
competition.
I'm Joe. That's it. I'm just in the background now.
I'm Joe. I lead a pretty solid life.
Yeah, I'm an accountant.
Well, well, a lot of these people's dreams are to be on Survivor.
This is like, I think that this is one of the biggest differences perhaps from season one is that like Survivor's become such a thing. Like this one dude said like, my 2 life goals are, was it like become a cop and be on Survivor? Is it something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's done both of them. So
Max, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
What's our weirder dream? Being on Survivor or being a mermaid?
Yeah. I asked this while watching the show, and I honestly, I couldn't tell you.
That's kind of a weird shout out to Floribama Shore, where somebody's dream was to become a mermaid.
It's a real greatest hits episode right now.
yeah, episode Hundy.
Got to put all the stops for episode 100.
Definitely. Rob, did you like the mayor of Slamtown?
Let's
the
talk with the-
ambassador of abdominals, the Monday Night Showdown.
Oh man,
He was something else.
that guy had some big time wrestler hair.
Oh, totally.
So one of the Goliaths is a professional wrestler who has like 37 nicknames that he proceeded to go through one by one.
And
Can
then,
you be a professional wrestler and not be in the WWE?
Yeah.
Is that
yeah,
a thing?
Yeah, totally.
He operates in Mexico.
So he explains that right now he's got this gig in Mexico where he just goes and quote unquote acts like the big obnoxious American, so that they'll root against him. Right? Yeah.
He definitely is. His acting chops are to the roof. I think.
He tells the luchadors they have masks because they're ugly.
Yeah. What a burn.
What a burn.
Sick burn.
There was this challenge starts. Then they do this challenge on this boat thing, where the Goliaths have to pick out two of
Weaklings.
Weaklings, and they're like, oh, the one person they said was like Big Bang Theory dude. I don't remember purple hair.
Yeah, it was purple hair and Big Bang Theory.
So Christian was the Big Bang Theory dude.
Yep.
And he definitely seems like he could be on the Big Bang Theory. There's lots of great producer cuts of him in the confessional booth. Amazing level of production.
There's that one in particular.
The one in particular is just like kind of him fading and zoning out as he's talking, rambling on. It's great.
Yeah, he's explaining something, and they cut fade in out as if like he definitely went on for like 20 minutes, and they just showed a little bit of it along the way.
So good.
It was great. So they picked the two weakest Davids and the two strongest Goliaths, but then the twist is the Davids decide there's different obstacles, and Davids decide which ones they get to do and which ones the Goliaths get to do, so they might be able to get the advantage back.
Which I think they picked rather well.
They did. We were questioning their picks.
Almost perfect, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if their second round pick.
Yeah.
Second round pick was questionable.
Yeah.
Like they picked like go under these nets. Definitely looked pretty hard.
They should have made the giant wrestler guy go underneath those nets.
Definitely. And going through those like they like to go through like some sort of like net seemed pretty easy, which is what they had to do. But then giving those dudes like that giant 3D puzzle at the end versus the slider puzzle, definitely.
Yeah, and it really ended up not mattering because like this dude apparently wrote some kind of algorithm to solve like slide puzzles, so he knew exactly how to do it. So he just steps up and goes whoop 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 whoop, and the challenge is over.
Jeff couldn't believe it. Jeff wasn't ready to check that it was actually done.
Yeah, Jeff's like, oh, I can't. I've never seen this before.
I mean, it didn't look like it would be that hard either. It's not like when you have to like put a face in a slide puzzle where you've got to like maneuver a bunch of pieces into the right slots. It was just like move one big piece all the way down, which, I mean, if you've done a slide puzzle, it's not like super complicated to move one piece where you want it to go. It's just when you need to move all the other pieces in conjunction with that piece, definitely very difficult.
Yeah,
for sure.
And like building the dudes didn't even get a chance to do a 3D puzzle. This is done.
They pretty much stepped up to it and they're like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, it's over.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they did it in 5 seconds, so like...
There's not much you can do there.
Dude was just beating himself up. He's like, well, I could have optimized better and blah, blah, blah.
Shut up, that was the...
fucking one. Just go to hell.
That was the great producer cut. He was like talking about how, I should be happy, but I'm kind of just like looking back at how bad I did. I'm like, what?
5 seconds. Like I could have done at least 2 seconds faster.
Where's the timer on this thing? Then this is the meat and potatoes of Survivor. It seems is like building the shelter.
Well, I got one comment on this first part here.
Right.
Like, do you think that if the Goliaths had won, because like Probst spends so much time teeing up this David versus Goliath thing, and maybe appearances aren't what they seem, and sometimes Goliath can win, and like sometimes the Davids can win, and like if the Goliaths just come in and they just wreck the first challenge, and there's like, well, I guess that's exactly what everyone thought was going to happen. Like, it doesn't work great with the story, so I wonder if they just got a backup cast on another boat. They're just like, all right, this one didn't work out. Swap in the casts. Let's try that again.
Oh, man. I don't think they do that. I think it's just teed up super, like, if they needed the Goliaths, the Davids to win, maybe they get the producers in there to be like, maybe you want, this.
So I think if that happens, like, getting blown in the first challenge doesn't totally ruin the storyline, because now it's like the Davids got to come back. And then it's just they start rigging the challenges. Like, be like...
They would have to.
They figure out ways to sort of tilt the balance, put the producer thumb on the scale so that the Davids can, like, come back. I think
yeah.
I feel like you would want it to be that the Goliaths win in the first one, so that there's like the underdog story. They just won in the first thing, so it's not an underdog story anymore.
Damn, you're onto something.
I don't know. I think it was a lot more impactful because like if we just watched this first episode and then the Goliaths just blew him out in like the first two, you're just like, all right, like I guess your show's not going to be interesting. But like now you're just like, oh, okay, like these people might actually like be in the mix. This might actually be interesting here.
Well, the first challenge on the boat, the Davids won.
Yeah,
Max, really?
that's exactly what we're talking about.
I thought
way
we
to
were
jump
talking.
in, Max.
I thought we were talking about the second challenge. Sorry.
No.
That's cool. Episode 100, we are a tight knit ship. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can see
Yeah.
it going either way. I don't think there's much incentive to force it one way or the other.
Mm.
I do think like the underdog story is kind of what they were teeing up, and then like that just didn't happen. So it's kind of like, well, who cares? Who the fuck cares about this David Goliath thing? I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of a weak concept for the season. I think
That's why they have-
kind of weak. I think it's stupid and very weak.
it's
well,
kind
that's
of.
why
no
they're
fucking
trying to
sense.
sell it really hard.
You hating on Jeff's idea?
Hey, I love the passion that Jeff is bringing to try to sell this idea, but I think it's flawed from the start.
You think so?
I
think he's
just
bringing
don't.
any
I don't
passion.
know.
I'm
I
call
don't
bullshit.
understand. Yeah, I don't understand how these people are Goliaths.
There's just
Because they're all type A assholes.
That's what I assumed they were going to be, but they all weren't. So
They
it was
mostly
like
were though.
there's
Wrestler
definitely
dude's definitely a piece of shit.
oh yeah,
that guy's
and-
gonna fight you.
and the
I don't
old
give a fuck about that asshole.
the old black woman was also.
the CEO woman, yeah.
But what about the famous guy from
Ned
School of Rock?
Schneebly should not be on the Goliath.
Oh, we got to
team.
talk about that.
Ned Schneebly.
Like
So much to unpack.
that dude's not a type A asshole. I don't think.
So who is this guy?
He's also not a Goliath.
I don't know. He's on the Goliath team.
I know, but he shouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying. It's
That's what I'm
like
saying this show concept makes no fucking sense.
if they were all
Jeff
if
should
they're
get
all
off the boat.
if they're all type A, just kind of like I'm the one in charge, get the fuck out of here, then like I think that would make sense.
Right.
But they're not all like that. I feel like if they did get all type A people, it just wouldn't make for good TV either. Just wouldn't make for a good team at all.
I think
but
the
it wouldn't
reason,
make any
like-
sense. Like it doesn't make sense.
Like they're just trying to cast people into these roles and be like, oh, you know, you're quote unquote the nerdy one, you're quote unquote the attractive one, and just categorizing everyone. And it just, to be super honest, it just really rubs me the wrong way, like from the get go on the show. And like it just doesn't set you up to be like in a good place. Like the show just starts out so judgy. And it's like they just kind of break it down, and like Jeff tries to back his way out of it and be like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have judged them so hard. But it's like you put them into these categories. You are the problem. Like the producers are the problem with the show. Like I'm sorry, like the theme is just it just really like rubs me such the wrong way. Like because they kind of overemphasize it, and they get everyone that is on these teams and then back it up and then reinforce it and be like, well, why do you think you're a Goliath? Like, whoa, I never thought about it, but I guess I am a huge asshole. Like that's what the beginning of the show was, and it just I
Definitely, like-
I fail to see like why that was the thing they wanted to hone in on, especially in season 37. Like you guys know how to put out a show that people watch. Is this what people want? Because if so, I guess that's
I just think
who the hell put
they
this
must
thing
be
on?
they must be run out of ideas 37 seasons deep. Like I can't even like. I bet if we went down like the list of themes, there's some nuts stuff in there.
Sure.
Like 37 different themes. I don't know what that's gonna be like, but
I mean, we can maybe get Chris's in our corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be out of base. Like you guys could like totally call me out on this. Like feel free to. Like just personally, it just rubbed me such the wrong way that I had a hard
Yeah,
time
I
trying
agree.
to come around on it.
One of the last seasons I remember watching, the theme was basically it was a race war. They had 4 tribes, and there was the Caucasian tribe.
Oh,
Asian
no.
and it was like, what is happening on this show?
that's crazy. That's a lot worse than this one.
Yeah, that felt like a touchy theme.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so each season theme we know of has been problematic. What is your dream theme?
Well, another season I watched I really enjoyed is they had a pirate themed one. And that
Well,
was
that's
great.
pretty good.
Did they have to talk like pirates?
They didn't have to, but they did a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Did they give them like pirate clothing to wear?
No, they made them dress up in nice clothes, saying this was a photo day. Took them on a boat, and Jeff's like, "Kidding, game is on," and just threw him off the boat into the water.
Incredible. Incredible.
That
move.
season was great. Then there was this big guy who had a beard and like kind of like was a piratey kind of guy, and one team took in all their shoes and just left them like because they went up to the village or something to get some stuff. Their shoes were lying there, and he just stole all their shoes. He's like, I pirated.
Yeah, yeah.
That season was great.
That's great.
I like that idea.
That seems good.
That's real good. How about Aliens versus Predators?
Oh,
I
man.
should get into that.
So it's aliens as in like immigrants, and then where are you getting predators?
Cops.
Cops.
Just all the cops that apply.
Ooh.
Birds versus bees.
They've definitely done men versus women.
What about gigolos versus what?
Thoughts.
So like the names of these seasons aren't like the actual themes.
All right,
Maybe I should, like, there's like
hit me with some.
Borneo, the Australian outback,
Yeah, so
Africa.
yeah, so Borneo is just where the first one was.
Yeah.
yeah.
These
The
are,
first
like
one's-
all the first things are like where they were.
Okay.
The first one that's like actually the theme is like heroes versus villains.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Then there was like Redemption Island.
I like the sound of that.
There's
I like
Zed.
the sound of that one.
There's like blood versus water.
Don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Millennials versus Gen X.
Ooh.
All right, I'm into that. Sure.
Game changers.
Okay.
And then heroes versus healers versus hustlers.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then last season was Ghost Island.
Ghost
Island.
Wow.
Oh.
We should have watched Ghost Island.
Has everyone been like visited by a ghost or something? Like, what
I
do you think
had no
happened there?
idea.
It just sounds cool.
I was thinking during the show there should be like a Halloween Survivor.
Ooh.
Well, I think you're in luck.
Survivor, trick versus treat.
Survivor trick or treat. You get to choose.
Which team are you on?
James is definitely on treat.
Team Treat.
No chance I'm going on this show. Or if I'm on the show, I'm definitely getting kicked off the show immediately.
Yeah, you think?
I wouldn't
Oh
mind
I'm definitely
being on.
punching someone in the face.
You think that you're gonna get thrown off the show immediately by punching someone in the face?
Well, I don't think they let James on the island if that's like me what he thinks.
Nah, dude, it's legal. It's international waters.
Yeah.
Fiji is
like,
international
there's
waters.
That's the joke.
Too much craziness.
How much would
I wouldn't be able to stand Jeff.
you have to be guaranteed money to go on a season of Survivor
To like make a run at it or to like make a joke of it.
to make a real attempt at doing Survivor?
How long is this thing filmed for?
Who knows?
Let's
It's
say a
like-
month.
It's like 35 days or something.
The original one was 39 days. I don't know if it's still 39 days. Let's say 39
It's somewhere
days.
somewhere around there.
I don't know. Like, so if I got to take like 2 months out, I don't know, maybe like a few $100K.
That's
Wow.
way lower than I expected.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Call up CBS. Let's get him in.
Now we got that syndication money.
Yeah.
We can
Spend it.
crowdsource this.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know. Something like, I mean, like, realistically, someone's like, hey, I'll give you $400K to go do this thing. You're like, all right.
Yeah. No, totally.
Like, you're not
James,
saying no.
For
how
sure.
much, James? How much politicking are you going to be doing on the Survivor?
It depends what my motivations for this show are.
Winning.
You got to win.
So my motivation is to win.
Obviously, you're on the
And
thing to
you do
win.
what you have to do to win, Chris.
Oh
you
boy.
play to win the game.
Play to win.
Using the Corey technique. Is that your strategy?
No, you don't want to be pulling a Corey. That's a little too much.
You're gonna take
Because
yourself
that's
out of
how
the
you
game.
lose the game. You take yourself right on out of the game.
That's I'd say you get yourself out of the challenge and onto Teen Mom OG right there.
All right, let's pull it back here. Back to the meat and potatoes of Survivor.
yeah.
Yeah.
The I mean,
Apology.
There was some
gonna
like
say-
preliminary politicking.
the drama and the alliance making. Everyone on the show seems to be the master of Survivor. I think everyone on the show has seen every season of Survivor, or at least the majority of the seasons, and knows exactly how this stuff's supposed to go down, and is super excited to be there.
Like Survivor strategy is very well understood at this point, and especially if you're about to go on the show, you definitely have. I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of things you can read about Survivor strategy.
So it's all like these people like getting together and like 2 or 3 and just being like, you got me, oh I got you, okay, we're good. We shake hands and then you backs them in the back like the next time you get a chance. That's how this works, right?
That's right. You got it.
There's
Survivor.
that's like a good half hour of this show. It's like just that.
It was more than half an hour of the show. I'm gonna say.
There's a lot of commercials in between. It's hard to tell the exact time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some other little drama things that happen that aren't necessarily the same. Where like the first big piece of drama is getting like this shelter up and running,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Pat, like he's like some dude that like what was he, like an apartment complex
Manager
or something?
Yeah.
So like he takes charge and built this pretty nice looking shelter actually.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat. Like I don't think took them more than like a couple hours to really do all that. And you know the Goliaths on the other side are like just all fighting and infighting about how to make the shelter, and we never really ever see their shelter, so I don't even know if they ever made one.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So it's just like, well, okay. And then there's like some drama around that on who's the leader and who's not the leader.
Because they had a structural engineer, but they also had the CEO.
Who was an industrial engineer, which
sorry.
doesn't necessarily make buildings. Like,
But
Yeah.
she was very unhappy that the CEO was telling her what to do.
yeah, she definitely was, but like, it's not her day-to-day job to be making like simple construction buildings. Like it's design complex industrial like manufacturing. I don't know. I mean, there's some overlap there, but
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking when this is on. Like, I would much rather have like a construction worker that builds shit every day than like an industrial engineer trying to figure this thing out.
Totally.
Like,
it's, you know, you're not looking for a whole lot here. You're just looking for like a roof almost at the very least, because it's pouring. Everyone is wet and cold and not wearing pants.
uh-oh.
I think it's the title of the episode.
Wet, cold,
Cold, no pants.
I thought that was Gigolos.
Oh my god! But that really is the case, though. And then, yeah, I mean,
Like,
Cat clearly knows like the base things that need to get done. He takes, he takes charge. He calls himself self-proclaimed, blue collar guy. He knows how to just get shit over the hump. Like, all right, you go do that. You go get some bamboo. You're gonna get the twigs. You go get some twine. Bring it over here. We're gonna put this thing up. Boom. There you go. And I got a shelter.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm surprised, like not surprised, but the Davids definitely, I feel, were better prepared for the next like elimination thing, but they just, it was not an elimination I think they really had a great chance at. We'll get into that, I guess.
So, but the other thing that was going on while this construction building was happening for the site was that a few folks were sort of meandering about through the island, searching for this immunity idol thing, and that was sort of the other drama that was sort of unfolding. Everyone's sort of looking around like, oh, where's Mike, or where's this other dude? Like, oh, they must be looking for that secret hidden idol that's scattered somewhere on the island, I suppose. It's that new element.
So we saw lots of people on Goliath looking for the idol. Did we see anyone on David's looking for an idol? Or
There were a couple of people that kind of talked about it. It's like, hey, we have a couple minutes, maybe we can look. I mean, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of chatter over there about that, though.
So Rob, you watched a couple of the early seasons. Was this a thing?
at some point they had a thing where like Jeff would be like, okay, somewhere there's a hidden immunity, you can go look for it, but it wasn't a big part of the show, and like it was sort of like this weird thing that Jeff would throw in the middle of the show. So I think it's clearly become like a bigger element since I stopped watching.
So I watched an episode, I think of last season or 2 seasons ago or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But like at some point, it was like towards the end of the game, and this one dude had used an immunity idol like 3 or 4 times in the whole like game. So like it definitely changes like how you act and react to things. If you're like, oh well, I think I'm going to get voted out tonight, let me use this thing.
So do you think there is a whole bunch hidden, or do you think it's like every time you use it, it goes back in play and you have to find it again?
I think there's I think there's a bunch hidden.
Mm.
They might put a couple out there depending on what they think in the game is needed. I don't think they like, oh, one's used, so okay, obviously it goes back out. I think it's more like, oh, we want to interject something into the game, so like let's put this where we think this one person will get it, I think is probably more likely than not. But who knows? It's all about like how much can the production really affect this game, and like the immunity idols definitely seem like one of the big proponents of how you could affect the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, let's roll back for a second. Harrison,
Sure.
who is Mike?
Who is Mike? Is Mike the School of Rock guy? Okay,
Yes.
there we go.
Let's explain that.
I don't know his actual name, but yeah. So Mike,
Mike White.
Mike White. Okay, so Mike White is on the Goliath team, and he is he's a writer and filmmaker, and he played Ned Schneebly in School of Rock. So he's somewhat famous, and he was also apparently on a season of The Amazing Race as well. So now I guess he's just turned kind of professional competitive reality player.
Professional nobody.
Okay.
He's trying to be an Instagram influencer, okay?
There was one guy who is a
He
social
was
media influencer.
social media manager?
Oh.
I made the joke about him being an influencer.
So Mike White was on the 14th season of The Amazing Race, along with his father Mel. They lasted for 7 legs and were eliminated in 6th place. They returned to compete in The Amazing Race, unfinished business, and they were the second team eliminated.
Oh, wow. I mean, because, like, people on this show were talking like they had seen him play on The Amazing Race, and they're just like, this guy's good. We got to get him out of here because, like,
Yep.
he's crafty. He's good.
He didn't make it anywhere in Amazing Race.
He didn't. I mean,
He didn't.
7 legs is pretty good, but second episode out is pretty terrible.
Yeah. But he was one who started this whole immunity idol thing. He was like, I'm going to sneak out and no one's going to know what I'm doing. And then she's going to be like, where's Mike? Is he looking for an immunity idol?
Yeah, immediately, because the only thing that everybody's focused on is building that shelter, so it's so obvious when there's someone who's not there.
And then the CEO found him and was like, Mike, they're all saying, where's Mike? They're like, he's out looking for that idol. And Mike's like, what?
Why would they say that?
That's wild.
Yeah. So I don't know if Mike's long for this game.
Like, as we said, a lot of these people's dreams are to be on Survivor or a mermaid, but his dream is also to find an immunity idol on Survivor. So I don't think he's ever going to stop looking.
Yeah. Do we know the name of the guy who actually found the immunity idol?
The SWAT guy,
The hot dude.
the hot guy.
I want to say Evan.
All right, we'll go
Mike?
with Evan. So Evan was really funny to me because like he said like he used to be overweight and he's worked to like get himself to like good shape and stuff like that. And he's just like he can't stop talking about I'm on this team and there's all these good people and there's all these beautiful women and they're like talking to me and I can't believe it. And then he finds the immunity idol. He's like, I was with these hot women. And I found this immunity idol. It's like, yo, dude, you gotta calm down.
He's so insecure.
He's so insecure.
Oh no.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be his downfall for sure.
Oh, yeah. The politicking, he's definitely pulling a Corey.
Yeah, he's like, I told myself don't do those showmances, but I can't help it.
It's definitely Corey. Corey's said that exact same thing in the challenge.
People have fallen in love with Survivor. It's happened.
It's happened.
Oh.
They definitely won, right?
Yeah,
Maybe that should be the question you're trying to answer.
he's definitely a couple of ladies are definitely like tricking him and getting him voted out for sure.
Very possible.
Like, give me your hidden idol to save myself, and then they vote him out.
I thought that like one of the cool things about that idol is that, like you don't have to reveal to everybody when you find it. So this dude's just been keeping it in his pants because
Yeah.
he's just trying to hide it from everybody.
When he was like, I got the idol right here in my pants, I was like, is this like a weird joke coming up?
Yeah.
Like, I'm more
Definitely
concerned.
seemed like that way for how he was talking, right? Like, it's like, yeah, all hot women around. It's like, I got this idol in my pants,
Okay. If I got that idol, I wouldn't want that in my pants. I would like find a really good hiding spot for it or something.
I think that's what they usually do. That's what happened in the last episode.
Really?
Like they usually use their pants, or they usually put it somewhere
They
else.
usually put it somewhere.
That's so risky.
Definitely, I'm not losing sight of that thing.
You would
There's
have
no
to
chance.
you'd have to bury it deep
Yeah.
if you were
I'm
gonna.
not burying
I don't know.
What
I
if
think
you just
pants is the right
rolled in
call.
and you just were wearing it around your neck and be like, "Look,
Fuck all y'all.
I don't
wanna
know.
Get with Evan."
Oh.
Well, I think
Take
the
a
thing is
look,
like you
y'all.
don't have to use it on that particular day, so you can just hang on to this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you
For
can
sure.
get kicked off of that thing. Like, if you don't use it and you have it in your pants, you're out.
Right.
Okay, so
Which is different from other shows a lot of the time how they do it, right?
how do you actually use it? Do you have to like declare that you're going to use it before people vote, after people vote, when
I
you're
think
announced
it's
you're
before
being...
people vote. Before people vote, you say he asks like, "Does anyone have any immunity idol they want to use?"
But I think the best for strategy wise would be after everyone's voted, but before they read the votes. Like, do you want to use it? And then you don't know if you've got votes, but you could potentially be like, people voted for you, and then those votes don't count.
I forget.
That'd be real.
He definitely
Double
used it
burn.
in the episode I was watching. I feel like it was before anyone cast any votes.
Yeah, maybe.
But it might
make
might
sense.
go back and forth. There might be times where they'll ask before and after. Just, I agree with you. When there's like 10 people voting, that makes sense. When there's like 2 people voting, then it's like, well, go vote again, guys. Like, which is what it kind of was. So it could just be dependent on how many people are there, whether you can use it pre or post votes. Because if everyone votes for them, you're just like, oh, I guess you just got to go revote.
I feel like the best thing would be if you didn't have to announce it and you're just like, all right, we're going to boot you off the show. Guess what, suckers? Jeff, suck on this. Pull out the idol from your pants.
That'd be great.
I mean, you definitely want the showmanship for sure.
Right. I just think it'd be interesting to see people's true colors and like not know if they've had the idol or not and see how the votes go.
I mean, usually, you get people's true colors and whether they're going to vote for you or not.
Maybe. I don't know how it changes if you like have the idol. Or let's say
You don't
found
know
two
if
of
they
them.
have an idol.
Like, what if you find 2?
You can use it twice.
I want to hang on to them. I want to have 2 idols in the pants.
So this challenge that they go through,
It's pouring rain.
it's
Dumping for
pouring.
this entire episode, but it's really dumping
It
for the
seemed
challenge.
worse during the rain. And of course, Jeff, just big smile, loving the rain, loving life.
He's got a
Wearing
nice.
shorts.
He doesn't even look wet. I don't really know how he did that, but like he didn't look like wet when he was standing out there.
He had a baseball hat on, which definitely keeps a lot of rain out of your face.
Yeah.
So like his clothes definitely looked wet.
I mean, this isn't his first rodeo, I guess.
I'm
so.
sure he's got some nice like clothes that don't look terrible when they're super wet.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So
that's his whole thing. He's wearing like this utilitarian look. Like that's the whole
he's-
point.
He's wearing some khaki
He's got
pants.
a million pockets on his shirt, and
a lot of pockets on those khaki shorts.
oh yeah,
So yeah, they roll out and they have to do this challenge. The challenge is they have to run through this obstacle course and get knocked down by some sort of wrestler.
we gotta come back to that part.
Yeah, we're
but-
getting back to that.
Okay.
And once they get through this obstacle course, once everyone gets through, one person runs through to like this little thing where they have to dig in sand underneath some sort of
log.
And then once you get to the other side, they have to like cut down or untie some knots to bring down a rope ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get up the rope ladder, the whole team has to go through this like ledge crossing.
Yeah.
How to describe it any better
That's
than
fine.
that. And then once they get to the other side, they have to do this like puzzle where they have to line up 1 through 25.
Kind of another slide puzzle. but
Kind of a
giant.
slide puzzle, but not really. You just have to push the numbers all the way through and just arrange the numbers in the right order.
Right.
And that was the challenge. And Goliaths won. They made it seem like they were super close. They kind of look close. I don't really know.
I mean, what we do know is that the David team got 4 out of the 5 columns done in their puzzle, so they were at least close.
I think it was decently close.
yeah.
But they start off, and that wrestler guy is just like the obstacle just kind of crisscrosses, and he's just taking people out.
It is unclear to me what the rules of that part are, because like people are kicking, the wrestler is pinning people down to the ground. Like,
I thought the CEO was about to get trampled.
yeah, no, like when she went down, I thought it was over for a second. Oh man,
I was like, why are you holding them back? It's not, you're at the same spot. You all have to be at the end.
yeah, like his team can't start until he gets there either.
Yeah. So he was
Right.
the last one there because he kept running into people and pulling people down. We're just like,
It's all he knows.
I just didn't understand what the whole point of, like, I agree. Why is that allowed?
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't clear it was supposed to be allowed, but Jeff didn't.
The
do
rules
it.
were not
It looked like he almost
disclosed.
kicked that one girl when she was going through that thing. Like, oh,
Yeah, it was nuts.
Then, so whoever the Davids, this is sent out. This is the whole reason they probably lost.
Yeah, 100%.
Just got like
The reason.
tried to go under this log and just got gas super quick. Like
Yeah.
you got like, to be fair, it's pouring, so this sand or whatever can't be all that easy
It's
to
got to
move
be
around.
heavy.
Yeah.
And by the time he gets through it, he looks like he's ready to pass out.
Yeah. for
And
sure.
then he's got to untie this knot because he wasn't the first one there.
And he's just dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they landed on that guy is the person who was going to do that part, but like he was gassed immediately. It seemed like
It
he's
feels
a truck driver.
not a lot of physical activity
Nope.
sitting in that truck.
it feels like it was just whoever was first that like through the original one had to do it, or
No.
you don't think so?
They definitely got to pick who did it. I think I don't know.
I mean, I feel like these people are new to each other. You made it there first. All right, if you want to go, you get to go.
I think you talk about it before you start the obstacle course of, okay, when we all get to the mat, you are going to go.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how that goes.
I just don't know how you decide that guy's going to be the one to do it.
That
So-
guy just says, I'll do it. I'll be great at this. And you're like, okay.
And like, okay. Oh, he turns out he's really not. I will say that like this digging on this log thing is pretty much directly stolen from the last season of the challenge. They did this exact same thing, but it was a lot more exciting because instead of just one dude doing it, it was the entire team trying to dig under the log at once and like get under it. So the entire team had to get under the log. It didn't make sense to me why just one person had to get under. I thought that like at least they're gonna have to get everybody under it. Like that was weird.
I mean, I was gonna ask exactly that. Like, why didn't everyone have to get through it? I thought it was interesting that what I thought was gonna happen was first person goes, has to dig the hole, then everyone else gets to go through that hole, maybe make it a little wider or what have you, right? I think that would have been more interesting. In this case, there was just one person, and then
Yeah.
Jeff goes, all right, you can all move on to the next one. They just all walk
Yeah.
around the thing.
Everyone should have had to go underneath that log.
Yeah, you win or die as a team.
For
Like,
sure.
Come on. What are you doing?
I don't know. I
Like, consider
They already
Pat.
dug the hole. I
Pat
could
would be
like,
fucked.
Yeah, I know. That's why the team has to help dig the hole to get Pat underneath the log.
But Jeff wanted to get to lunch, you know. He didn't
Yeah.
want this thing to take forever.
Gotta go.
I just feel like a lot of the people are going to have a lot of trouble with getting underneath that log.
But once you dig the hole the first time, the hole's there. You just
Yeah,
crawl
but
through the hole.
that was a small dude. You got
For
some
sure.
big dudes on there.
For sure.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying. I think that that's the way you do this challenge the right way. Like, if you want it to be a thing.
I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah. So the other thing that I found interesting with this, and I think we may have saw, and there was obviously one big injury at the end, but I think another interesting element of this show in particular is like you're literally just out in this island, like there's no luxuries or anything, and so like if you hurt yourself, cut yourself, twist an ankle, any of this kind of stuff. I mean, as in some other shows, but like this one just feels more because you're having to like survive, quote unquote, out on this island. That like it feels like the risks are high, and people seem to be just jumping from limb to limb, taking unreasonably amounts of large risk for not all that much of a clear reason. It was really odd to me.
First challenge, that adrenaline's pumping. People are
Yeah.
hyped up. Like, I don't know.
I feel
mean,
like
It
it's-
just feels like you got to play like a little bit of the long game. Be like, I don't know if I want to jump off of this thing because like maybe I'm gonna break something, or like, you know, if you injure yourself, like that's it. Like you're out here.
You're
Like,
done.
yeah.
It definitely seems like that just is like week, like first challenge. Like when you're at challenge 20 or whatever it's going to be, you're going to be hurting.
Oh,
You're going to
yeah,
be in
'cause
this
you haven't eaten
island.
in a month.
You haven't eaten well. Like it's not. They're definitely more cognizant of like getting injured and all that stuff too, because you're weaker than you are right now too. So
Totally.
I
I mean, I
agree-
have to wonder, like, how fun are the challenges to even watch at the end? Like, you're basically just watching people that have starved for a month try to go do some kind of challenge, or like both mental or physical. Like when you're exhausted like that, I don't know. It's just man, that guy can't add 1 + 2.
Well,
He
I
hasn't
mean-
he's been eating rats for 3 weeks.
I mean,
That's the game.
the producers give them like rice and stuff.
Mm,
They're not like starved, but they're definitely not like eating
not
2,000
well there.
calories
so
a
the,
day.
the food thing is not super transparent to me in this season so far. Like, I mean, for sure in that first Survivor it was very transparent. Like for a while they're only catching their own stuff. At some point they got some amount of rice and they're very clear about the amount of rice they gave them. Here I haven't really seen any mention of that except for that one dude spearing an octopus,
Yeah.
which I didn't even show them eating.
No,
Well,
they did.
They showed
No,
a little
they-
bit of the meeting, but not
They
much.
showed okay.
I mean, it was only so big of an octopus, and there was like 8 people.
Sure.
So
Hey, perfect. It's an octopus.
All right. Yeah. So I think that they give them like a little bit of grains every day.
But like, I don't know if it's still good, but like, definitely an older Survivor. Like, you'd have the last episode, and then they'd cut to the reunion, and it's just like it's shocking how different everybody looks from like. They're definitely like you don't realize it watching the season, but then they go back to what they normally look like, and you're like, wow, they lost so much weight, and now they're just like their face is so fat.
Yeah, they like usually ask them like, hey, how much weight did you lose on the show? Basically, and they're just like, 50 pounds, 70
Yeah,
pounds. And like,
it was crazy.
They're only there for like 40 days.
I know it was definitely not, I wonder if it's like less now. Like this is the same thing when we did Amazing Race. So like the earlier seasons seemed a lot harder, and it's kind of like been a little bit more on rails. I wonder if the same thing, like they don't put them through the same kind of physical stuff, but like it was very
I mean,
evident
when you're on minimal, like I know you said it's only 30, 40 days. But like when you watch like Naked and Afraid, and those people are literally out on their own for 30 days, and you're only eating whatever you can find, that's not very much, and you are gonna lose a lot of weight because you're basically starving.
Sure. Yeah. That's
Like,
I mean-
it's just like it's very clear to see people go from like being reasonably healthy or in good shape to like not looking that good. And like, especially if you come into this thing thin, like that's not great. I think we even heard a couple of folks say like they kind of bulked up a little bit coming into this thing because they know they're going to lose a lot of weight. It's like I don't think you're trying to come into this like super skinny or really light. Like you're trying to come in a little bit, I would say good shape, but also like a little bit, maybe even bigger than you want to normally be.
The episode I saw a couple seasons ago or whatever was definitely later in the season. They definitely look like they lost a bunch of weight without like, I don't like if in the earlier seasons, like the first thing people would be doing is creating shelter and finding food. Like
Right.
no one here was like, hey, go find food. Like, they were looking for it. They were trying, but they weren't like, it wasn't priority number one.
right.
When it's pouring outside and you're like, I need a shelter, but I also like am going to be starving in like 2 hours.
They also used to try to make fires with like what was available, and now it doesn't seem like they're like, we're gonna wait for Jeff to give us some flint so we can make a fire.
there was no attempt. Like first season, they're trying to make that freaking fire out of nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they both did get flints.
Right.
They
That,
know the
So,
Flint's
so like,
that was a nice side thing of like the winner of the challenge didn't just get immunity; they got fire in the form of flint, as Jeff said like 8 times. But then and he just gave the other team a flint too.
I just don't think you could live out there without some sort of fire.
Right.
And I don't think, you take five of us, you take this whole apartment building and be like, hey, go out there in this fucking wet ass jungle and make fire. Like,
Yeah.
that's not an easy task.
Definitely
Like-
not for the 5 of us in this apartment building.
Like the 5 of us, you take this whole apartment building and be like, okay, it's pouring, everything is wet. Now go and make a fire without any tools.
Impossible.
Like it would be like super tough. Like it would take us weeks. Maybe. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know. Without a fire starter or dry
Or
stuff to burn.
or the internet to tell you how to do it.
There's
That's
YouTube.
tough. That's real tough. Even if I had a YouTube video, there's a low chance that it could work.
Yeah. Maybe if you're going on Survivor, I think that'd be stuff I might want to like look up.
There's
on.
so much stuff you'd be studying and prepping before you go on Survivor. That one person like learned how to weave the palm fronds on that YouTube video. She's
Yeah,
like, how'd
yeah.
you learn YouTube?
Yeah, obviously that's what you do before you go on the show.
You have to.
Is you try to learn as much survival shit as you can.
All right, let's roll the minutia back to this challenge a little bit. So
So David's way behind.
yeah, the Davids are way behind. That like going over the ledge thing was really inconsequential. We
Yeah.
saw like none of that. And then it seems like the Davids get to the puzzle thing, which isn't quite really a puzzle, but like
Yeah.
they seem to catch up according to Jeff.
They put Christian, the king of the slide puzzle, in charge, and they seem to get closer.
They tried to make it seem like the Goliaths were arguing a bunch,
They definitely did seem that way.
but I don't really know. But the Goliaths win, whether by a little bit or how much, we don't really know.
Yeah.
And they're super excited.
They should be.
I mean, it definitely seemed like the Davids made up a lot of ground in the slide puzzle. I mean, that dude was up there. I mean, they had full faith in him. There was no arguing because they saw what he did on that first puzzle. And they're just like, you're going to get up there and you're just going to tell us exactly what to do and it's fine.
You're the
Yeah.
puzzle guy.
You're the puzzle guy.
The other thing, like when they got to the puzzle, the truck driver guy basically just like collapses,
It's over.
like getting just across the ledge thing, just like nearly killed him.
It's gonna be a long road for that guy, I think.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's kind of an interesting thing with this challenge I found was that it wasn't really it didn't take the whole team to complete any one of these things.
Yep.
Like there was maybe the puzzle, like, okay, you need like 3 people, you need one up top to view it and call out the shots, and then maybe 2 people to move the blocks around. But there wasn't any point like through any of the phases really that like took a like concerted team effort. Which I wonder if was intentional to sort of like weed out who wasn't pulling their weight kind of thing. Like I don't know, like
There's a
how do you
lot
think
of
about
there's
that?
a lot of there were the first and third definitely like more individual than team based. Like there was like all of you have to get to the thing. So if you're last, I mean that definitely looks bad for you overall on the team level. And then like getting over that little ledge thing,
Team
you know,
development.
we didn't really see a lot of it, but you know, if you fail or you know push it too hard and make it harder for somebody else, I mean that stuff would add up as like, who am I kicking off? Maybe, I don't know. Really, I agree with you, but it's like early and there's a lot of people, so having a team-based challenge when there's a lot of people is definitely much harder versus like a 4-person team. Like
Right.
when there's only 8 people left or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I guess where I'm going with it is just like it seems pretty clear like you wouldn't vote off the puzzle guy, for example, right? Like clearly he's pulling his weight. Like he wins you the very first challenge. He's calling the shots. He almost gets you back in it. And so it seems like he's got like he's looking good. And then so you break down the rest of the team. You're like, I don't know, like really all you have to go on as well. These people didn't do really that much.
I mean, it's the same thing with the challenge. Like, who do you kick off first? It's just like you kick off the weirdos and the people you don't know, and like the people that like rubbed you the wrong way.
Someone made some weird first impression, and they're like, all right, that guy.
Yeah, like Pat definitely. I was definitely considered to be on the chopping block, regardless of whatever happened.
Yeah.
because he kept making like weird ass jokes while he was building that stupid shelter.
He's definitely got a character's personality, right? Like he's throwing stuff out there. He's saying stuff like he kind of stands out from like the crowd. I feel like.
He made some insensitive jokes, which the producers made it seem like people cared. Who knows? I don't know.
That could have been the editing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have to
The-
wonder in
the,
hindsight too, like if we saw more of Pat because of like what ultimately happened.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know, right? Like I have to wonder.
Yeah. And like the people who are actually on the show have a lot more data than we do to make this decision, because like we're just seeing like a couple of seconds here and there of conversations, but like they're with these people for days and
Yeah.
they're seeing everything that's happening and they're, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
This is
Like,
2
like, that dude
days.
snores. Got to get him out of here. Can't fucking
right.
sleep.
Yeah. There's just a lot of things.
Yeah, 2 whole days. We saw like 60 minutes. And that includes a bunch of other extraneous stuff that wasn't that like them. So like
Yeah.
some sort of Utopia feed though.
Oh
Gotta
man,
get that Utopia feed
you want it.
round the clock.
Why don't they have the Utopia feed?
I mean, Big Brother does.
That's true. The Big Brother. I guess we should just call that the Big Brother feed because no one knows what Utopia is.
Utopia reference drink.
Oh,
yeah, it's still
I
going.
feel like it's a shot. I think
Oh, it's definitely a shot.
Yeah. They're pretty like it's pretty infrequent now at this point.
it should be.
It's like only every second. Pod.
You're welcome.
Finish your drink. Yeah. I don't know. So I guess we should get into this Pat thing.
Yeah, let's do
So
it.
like they do this weird editing thing.
Well, I think it's cool. Like the challenge was done, and they're getting on a boat to go back to their like home base beach, and something happens on the boat, and the cameras weren't hot. And like, what is the show doing? Why do they not have the cameras
like,
just rolling?
And like they're just planning on doing the transportation, and then the next shot is just going to be them walking on the beach. So it's going to look like they were just walking back from the challenge, but really they were kind of transporting them from somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a little. You get a little glimpse into the production side. I
For
guess.
for sure.
And so clearly there was a storm going on. So the waves and the seas were a bit rough. And so something happens, as is all we get told on the boat. They hear a sound, they kind of hit something, which I think is just really them
Well,
hitting like a wave or something.
Yeah, like it's like
And-
it seemed like the boat just kind of slammed hard or something like that.
Yeah.
Is kind of how they're describing it.
Right, which will happen in high seas. Like,
Totally.
that will happen. And I don't know what kind of boat they were on, any of that. But like, regardless, everyone was on this boat, and they hit a wave or what have you. And next thing you know, Pat's flat on his back on the beach ground.
It was like he's
That's
on
all
one
we
of those
got.
like
Stretchers.
stretcher things, and there's like 4 guys just carrying him up the beach, and like we come out of a commercial and we're just like out of nowhere that's happening with like no context. It was
Very
crazy.
confusing.
It's like a cold open in the middle of a show.
Yeah, we were
It
like,
really
did we
is.
miss some? Did something happen
Did
here?
we miss some sort of setup for this? What's going on?
definitely came across that way. I think we all looked around and were like, I think we missed like a good 10 minutes of this show. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, and it turns out he did something to his back. He looked in real pain.
Oh yeah.
Like he doesn't look like he's okay in any sense of the imagination.
He could not
And-
talk. Medical treatment kind of the medical team was there on site.
Seems
to,
like a
treat him.
pretty big, tough kind of dude too, and like to see that guy hurting like that, it's not good. I mean,
And it's kind of like it's a sad moment. Like all these people on the show want to be on this show. There's
Really-
0 people on the show that aren't like huge. Like compared to season 1, like there's even season 2, season 3. Like they're like, yeah, I want to win $1 million. These people are like most of them in there could give a rat's ass about the $1 million. They just want to be on Survivor.
huge.
And they
Survivor
want to
fans.
win. And like this dude, he was like, not this way. He didn't want to leave. Like in this week, like it's not any way any of these people want to leave.
He's so sad, and he's like, "Don't make me leave, not this way. Don't let me take them away." And then let them take me away. And then fucking Probes spins this guy's like thing back on him because
Oh,
like
it was so disrespectful.
at the end of the last challenge, this dude goes, I think that we're all kind of this strong, like heart that's kind of beating together, and I know that we're gonna have to cut off an artery tonight, but I think that, like we're still gonna keep pumping and still gonna be strong. And then he's just like, well, bet you didn't think you were gonna be the artery, basically. And it was like,
It was
oh, you kidding me,
so
Probes?
disrespectful.
Get out of here, dude.
with that smirk too.
Yeah, he was just smiling this whole time. Like, what kind of drugs is Jeff Probst on?
Oh,
He's on those Joker drugs.
Is it drugs or is just his face is permanently in a smile?
It could be.
Oh, man.
Oh man, that could definitely be it.
It did not come across well. Like
Definitely
as
did
you watch it,
not.
you feel bad for this dude, and you just look at Jeff smirking, and you're like, seriously? I
He's
couldn't
like-
believe it.
he's like, I know it. I got the perfect line for this situation.
Man, Bip definitely treated their situation with much more respect than this.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, that was the Chris Harrison thing was really
I don't
terrible.
know.
But
I'm-
also like he throws in that like legal plug.
No, well,
Oh, yeah,
no, I
I
mean,
had
like he
that.
definitely
Somebody catch
started.
that.
He definitely started to talk, kind of like yeah, I think that anyone would say that this was unavoidable, right? Am I right? Everyone,
It's like we've never had an issue transporting people
yeah,
before.
we've never had, we use boats all the time. We've never had an issue. Like, I don't think that anything could have been done to prevent this. It's like, okay, sure, Jeff, whatever. Like,
Jeff's gotta protect the shield and make sure that that money train keeps flowing.
For sure.
He didn't get the season 37. Like it's not his first injury he's seen, I'm sure.
no, there are all kinds of people that have been hauled off the show because they've gotten messed up.
Like Pat, definitely, I'm sure he signs some sort of way where he's not going to sue Survivor, but like,
There's no chance he can sue. Like he definitely signed his whole life away to this
For
show.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Like this show could probably kill him, and it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some money flowing hands if he gets murdered. On
Well, I
some-
mean, intentionally, yeah, but like, there's like any risk of injury, like there's zero liability by the show. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
the way he was talking made it seem like, hey guys, hey audience, legally we're okay, guys. Like,
Well-
what? Why even bring that up?
Well, I mean, like, I wonder if Survivor has been under criticism about this kind of stuff over the years. Like, I would think that Survivor is probably the highest number of people being taken off the show for medical reasons. Like I can't imagine another show being higher than this. Like,
Naked and Afraid.
seen,
That's what I was
yeah,
gonna
there's not a lot of contestants, not a lot of seasons, but like you've seen people get injured in all these crazy ways in the show and fall on fires and like all these things, and like it's just
I mean, if you're
There's a
going,
difference too, because like Naked and Afraid, like you don't have to go do all these crazy challenges and stuff. So like while you're starving and you're maybe cold or hot or whatever like the situation is,
That's the
like,
whole thing.
You mostly just have to survive and like hang out, right, and like not die from starvation. Whereas this show is like, all right, you got to go do whatever crazy thing and jump off of that thing and dig a hole over here and
Yeah.
pull this machete out of a thing without cutting your hand off.
Yeah.
I think it's just like high profile. It's definitely one of the most watched shows. Like definitely has maybe the most number, probably not the highest percentage. Like wise.
Maybe I can't.
Like-
I wonder what other show would.
Lots
be
of people
better.
get kicked off the challenge too.
from
forget-
medical occasionally.
So like, you know,
No doubt. There's no doubt. No doubt about that.
and they're not starving.
But more people get kicked off the challenge for getting in some kind of fight with some other person.
Yeah.
That's definitely more than the
Yeah.
number of medical situations.
Right.
But there's definitely some medical there's usually
Yeah,
a
there
medical
definitely is.
situation every season.
At least
or every
one.
other season.
Yeah.
Florida Shore, they got to pump some stomachs, get all that alcohol out of the system.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Every show's got their thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to respect the game and trust the process.
Respect the game. Trust the process.
That actually would be like the thing with the show is that like I would just have such low confidence in the producers and like the regard for my safety that like that would be a lot of the reason I wouldn't want to do it is because like I just don't think that they would really care that much. Like, are they really going to go the extra step to make sure all this stuff is like thoroughly tested and like actually safe? Probably not.
I mean, I trust Survivor challenges over the challenges any day.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
There's no question.
Safety-wise, absolutely.
Like,
What about
yeah,
that car jumping challenge you told me about?
There are definitely way more dangerous challenges in the challenge than this.
That's the challenge's MO right now.
That's
It's
that's
really-
the whole thing though. Like they're supposed to be like insane.
Yeah.
This Survivor challenges, I think, start out a little harder and get easier as you go because of
you're
just
stars.
because your like physical abilities are kind of limited at some point.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just talking.
Yeah, no, that seems fine. It's yeah, I don't know. Like the more, yeah, I just feel like with a lot of these shows, like I'm not just picking on Survivor alone, but like that physical element, like I just don't have that much confidence that like they're really that concerned with like my actual health, like if as a contestant, right?
You're definitely signing a waiver that's 80 pages long.
Right, and you're like, you're not reading that thing. Who has time for that?
You gotta read that.
I bet the CEO. Right?
What does it matter? It's basically you can't sue us. You could die on this thing, and tough luck. Like that's what it says.
That is what it says.
Yeah.
So like you could read it all you want, and it can make you feel any better.
You got it's not gonna make you feel better. At least you know what's in it though.
Yeah, I just told you.
How do you
Signed that life
know?
away. Yeah, I don't know.
So I got a little internet corner for you.
Oh.
So Pat compressed his spine, whatever that
Yeesh.
means. Was in the hospital for 3 days. Doesn't remember it. He was on the boat and then he woke up in the helicopter.
Oh,
That's what he
my
remembers.
god.
And so he had to get told, like that whole thing where he's on the beach saying, "I want to stay." Don't go. He has like no memory of that.
Well, at least he doesn't remember Probst turn his line back on him.
Well, now we know. I mean, he's seen the footage now.
Damn
yeah.
it, Probst.
Well, they also drugged him up pretty quick too.
They definitely
Right.
give him some drug, but like he, that's
He
it's
just
nuts
went
that he
out.
doesn't remember he doesn't even remember it happening on the boat. Like he had to get told something happened on the boat.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe they
So-
like Men in Black memory wiped him. Survivor Aliens versus Predators.
So 3 days. So compressed spine, like the pain he was in, to be gone in 3 days.
Yeah,
That's intense.
it's real intense. Yeah.
So
I mean,
like,
good I'm glad he's okay because he definitely looked like he like broke his back or like
There's
like,
definitely a point
hit a
where it's
nerve or
like he seemed
something.
like he might have like a really serious medical thing. And
Yeah.
like at one point it was like, are his eyes closing? Is he like losing consciousness right now?
well, I mean, they did drug him up pretty hard. I think it was after the drug. It was like,
I mean, it wasn't clear it was before. And so we didn't get a vote off because he's gone, and Jeff's like, "All right, I think that was enough trauma for one day. You guys are good."
I'm kind of bummed that we didn't get tribal council. I really like the whole vibe of the whole tribal council thing, but James doesn't like it.
James was like, I'm so glad.
Yeah, that show was ready to be over.
Well, like it wouldn't have made the show longer if they had tribal council. There's been less of the other stuff.
They would have cliffhangered it anyways.
No,
that's not
no.
it.
This isn't
That-
the challenge.
Maybe
That ain't how they do it on Survivor.
maybe they would have gone full Celebrity Apprentice, gone for that 2-hour premiere.
Oh no.
They definitely every episode's got that immunity challenge, and then the regular whatever.
Like-
You have a beginning challenge and then an immunity challenge, and then
I wonder if they would have cut more of Jeff's David versus Goliath myth making if they had
Just like stretch it.
Do they all give dramatic speeches before they get voted?
They don't all do, but sometimes they do.
Okay, I was hoping for like a hero style, like
There's a
tell us why you should stay, Rob.
there's a Jeff Q&A where he like asks people questions and is like, "You really sucked in that challenge. What do you think about that? Should they vote you out?" And they're like,
It's like, thanks for bringing that up, Jeff.
yeah."
What a guy.
Jeff, can we talk about how good I did in the challenge, the previous one?
Like Jeff is definitely like the voice of the producers trying to like push some things.
He is the producer.
I know, but like some shows like you don't see any producers, and then if like the Survivor, there's a producer right there ready to smile his way into trying to push some buttons.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right.
I have one more topic if you're looking to kind of
No,
wrap this
go ahead.
situation up. Okay. I think that one of the most important like strategic decisions you can make on the show when you're prepping is like picking what clothes you're going to wear on the show. And like there's such a variety of clothes that like I saw people wearing, and I'm surprised. Like you'd think that there would be a pretty agreed upon set, like these are pretty good clothes to wear on Survivor, and like I'm wondering what you guys think about that.
I
I
would bring a
mean-
wetsuit.
Do you,
Just a wet
Well,
skin tight.
No, Max brings up a good question. I have this legitimate question. Like, are there prohibited items or prohibited articles of clothing? Like, how is there not a survival like set, right? Like a kit. It's like, hey, this is the best shirt to wear. This is the best pants to
That's
wear.
what I'm saying.
They're the most versatile. Like, you can zipper them. They got all this stuff. It's got a fire starter on the sleeves. Like, all this shit.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
you're
it
not
must be
allowed.
because-
I mean,
like-
like the fire starter. There's no way they're gonna let you have that. But like, if it's like a jacket, like you can wear
Yeah.
a jacket.
And
I-
I got a thing where I rub a stick on it and it makes a spark. Like,
No. Now you're pushing it too much.
that's what I'm saying. But like, there must
you can't
be
bring
some
any you can't
rule.
bring any tools with you.
It's part of clothing.
I
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a market
Yeah,
here.
I
but
agree
they
with you.
must be.
No, I think there's rules that like if you roll in with that jacket, they're like, you guess what? You got no shirt. We're
Yeah.
taking
Take
that
that
away
jacket
from
off.
Like, hey, we told you couldn't bring one of those fire starter jackets. Now you don't have a jacket.
Or
Yeah.
is it the kind of thing like, do you know you're going on Survivor, or is it like
Oh,
CBS
you
or whoever the
definitely-
hell?
you
is
No,
definitely-
you
like-
definitely know you're going on Survivor.
Okay, but like, do you know when? Is it like, oh hey, like it's today, like we just picked you up from the hotel, like wearing whatever?
No, I
Yeah.
think the show,
But-
given like the like we talked about, like the legal thing and like the fact that it's more physically demanding, like you gotta
know,
that
like
that's
when
It
you're
just
going in for
doesn't
it.
seem like people have the right clothes for this thing, like at all.
I mean, if I'm going on this thing, I'm definitely bringing my T-shirt with the bottle opener on it. You know, definitely need the bottle opener tool.
It's just like
What
like
if someone rolled up and they were dressed exactly like Jeff Probst?
that would be so good. He'd be like, excellent wardrobe choice.
Yeah, it definitely seems like okay. The one woman had a hat on. That seemed pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
no,
cowboy hat was
That's
clutch.
great. The hats are clutch. There was no one that seemed to have any kind of waterproof jacket or anything like that. So
Then
maybe,
it must
maybe
be
you're not
banned.
allowed to have that.
Yeah,
It definitely
gotta be.
seems like the producers might clothe you. Like this is your persona. You're from Kentucky. You have to wear your Kentucky bullshit.
I wonder.
I think Chris is onto something here.
I mean, because like I'm looking at the dude who's the robotics engineer guy, and he's just wearing a pair of like khaki pants and like I mean like
And
there's
some
not
random T-shirt.
and a random T-shirt and like a hoodie, like a cotton hoodie, and like it's just not the right stuff to have in that situation. Like
I think Chris is onto something here. Well, I already think that most of these personas are already fake as shit. So like I do think that like it makes me more believe that these producers are just like, all right, you're gonna be the nerd guy. We're gonna let your hair grow out. You're gonna like wear this hoodie and these pants. You're gonna tuck your T-shirt in.
so you think these
Blah,
people
blah.
so you think these people are acting like they were handed a persona and there's like act to this persona?
Wouldn't be that surprising.
I don't.
I'd be pretty surprised. if
I
that was
don't
the
know. I
case.
think that people they make their own personas when they send in the tapes.
Right.
They're
It's
like,
this
oh, they always get this nerdy guy in Survivor. I'm going to be the nerdy guy. I'm going to really lean into my Kentuckiness. Like,
They
I
don't-
think all these people kind of lean into what they think they'll get onto the show.
they don't pick you unless you have a persona.
Yeah.
so you have to be a wacky and zany character to get.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely. And you're picking from like thousands, 10,000, 100,000 people here at this point. Like how many tapes they've
Gotta have
gotten to
shit.
be on Survivor. Like, not to mention all of the previous people on Survivor, because every season's not just all these fresh meat seasons as
They
the
have a
challenge.
huge
Like,
backlog of like entries.
they're
for
like
this,
heroes
right?
versus villains or whatever. that's obviously like an all-stars kind of season, like a challenge type season with previous people on it.
That'd be interesting. Like as they're watching and reviewing these like contestant entries or whatever, the submissions, like I wonder, they must be like labeling them and stuff, right? Like tagging them like, oh, okay, that guy, villain, slash no sleeves, slash like whatever.
Get the
right?
database and just all the tags for all the people. That'd be pretty funny.
Right?
I want, mom villain. Like, and there's like thousands of people show up.
Like, okay. It's like, okay, I want a David versus Goliath season. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Oh, here we go.
I want a ranking greater than 7. It's
What?
like-
I wanted to call back to one of the wrestlers' nicknames. I don't remember any of them. Like,
Oh.
I need a David versus Goliath. It's like, you need so and so.
they were so good.
The
I have
purveyor of abdominals or something
Yeah.
like that.
They were.
ambassador.
It's the mayor of Slamtown.
Mayor of Slamtown.
The ambassador of
Ambassador.
abdominals. The Monday Night Showdown.
Yeah, that's what the algorithm spits out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very weird what they're wearing. Like you should be wearing like a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, like the other question is, do they know they're going to Fiji? Like,
That's a great question.
I bet they don't know that.
that's what I think is like, okay, if I'm going, a lot of these people think they're going tropical. I feel like a lot of what they're wearing would be fine in tropical weather. It's just this fact that they're in monsoon weather that's like nothing they're wearing is any good. So that seems more logical to me that they're like, oh, we're going to go to Survivor. We're going to be on this beach. We're going to be hanging out in the sun. I'm going to wear this. And instead, they're hanging out in this miserable rain, throwing this curveball at them. And now they're just miserable.
It would be really interesting to see what kind of instructions or information they get for any of this. Like what do you show up with? Like, what do you...
I'm sure there's some sort of internet corner about this.
I'm sure there is.
So we're not going to dwell on it too much longer.
That's way too deep of an internet corner.
Yeah. James, I think I know, but what's the ranking here?
Oh man, you want to just start with me? Okay. So the thing is, with this show, oh no, I can't tell if Rob's Snapchatting me or not. It's very it looks like it.
No, I'm not.
No, it's fair. Like, I really, I don't know, I'm like struggling to like form this thing, but like, essentially, as I recall this show, I felt like the idea of Survivor was interesting and the thing that I remember being good. And when we watched this one, it just wasn't. And like, I don't know if that's because it's season 37, and so like it's just done, or it's old, or it's played out, or what have you. But I just have so many issues with this particular show that we watched, and I just didn't enjoy or like really any of it. So whatever, I don't really want to dwell on it. Just put it in the bottom, call it a day. Like, fuck this show, I'm over it. Whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I got nothing else. Like,
it's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
super annoyed by it, and it's not. It hasn't been a fun thing, and whatever. We should just move on.
I'm gonna follow up on that. So I'm gonna put it in the middle. And an interesting thing I found to watch this show is that like it's got all these. We may have done 100 of these,
We may.
and there's all these elements that feel like, oh yeah, here's the challenge thing, or here's the physical like survival element, and oh, here's like a vote out and all. But it just feels very bland and vanilla. Like this was the original one, and all these shows have taken parts of it and focused on those things and kind of tried to optimize or go more extreme and have things. So now seeing it just very like simply laid out in sort of the traditional way, and it's all kind of normal, it's felt kind of like, where's the point? Like there should be, where's the alcohol so the drama at the camp is more insane, or where's like the we didn't see a vote out, but like I know the vote outs go, and it's like where's a more interesting kind of way to like eliminate people and stuff like that. I just kind of felt like it's whatever. So I think that kind of echoes a little bit what James was saying. So but it wasn't terrible, so I'm gonna put it in the middle.
It wasn't terrible, so it's the middle.
Ju-
That's great quote.
Just as a side note, I think it'd be really great if instead of rice, they gave them as much hard liquor as they wanted, but that was the only provided calorie.
I don't know.
Some sort of
Wow.
scurvy
That
situation.
that legal waiver has just gotten way longer.
All right, Max, give it to me.
Bottom third, middle of the bottom. I agree. It's very bland. I'm sure back in the day, it was great. Reviewing it now, it's whatever. It's fine. It's boring. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't watch anymore.
There you go.
All right, Harrison, what you got?
So, is my rating supposed to be based on Survivor as a show or this season of Survivor? Like, where am I supposed to
Whatever
come
you
down
want it
here?
to be.
Man, you're not helping me here.
This
You are in
this today in this year.
You are in control of your own vote to cast it however you see fit.
Survivor is without question, one of the most important and influential reality shows out there.
Yeah.
We've been over that like 100%. I think that the point that Rob brought up is excellent, and that like a lot of other shows have taken these concepts and put a twist on them and have improved on them, made them more interesting, something like that. I think that when you watch some of these other shows, I'm going to say The Challenge, but like when you watch some of these other shows that have been around for 30 seasons, like it feels like they're better for having been around for 30 seasons, and it's polished, and you're like, they know what the fuck they're doing because they've been around and they know how to make this show. And I think that they know how to make this show, but I don't know that they've been able to kind of keep it fresh and interesting. Like I think that I don't love the concept of the season, the David versus Goliath thing. I don't think is a particularly great concept. So I don't know. Like it seems like I don't know if they're running out of gas or kind of what's going on. But I mean, I think it's a middle third show for me. I think I've got a lot of respect for the series. I think that it can be good. I haven't seen it in a while, but when I've watched seasons, I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably a middle show right now.
All right. I think I agree with a lot of your sentiments. I think that as Survivor goes on, I think it gets better. Like, I think the first episode is probably like the worst episode of Survivor. As like the show goes on, the drama kicks up, the like more fatigued people are, the like harder the challenges like seem to them. And then the end is always like, no one does this, where the last people vote for who the winner is, which changes like how Endgame works in anything realistically. So at this point, I'm going to put it in the middle third, top of the middle, but I'm going to watch this whole season, and I'll reserve the right to put it in the top third if, as we get closer and that comes to be fruition and I get to like witness it for again. Like it's been so long and I kind of just dropped it like forever ago. So, I agree with you. Parts of this seem bland, but I think they're kind of bland for a reason. Like the challenges are kind of bland because they don't want anyone to get hurt. And like the first challenge is also like the only one that they could probably do where it could be kind of tough or like more physically challenging than I think that they'd really want. So I think they're just good at making these regular type challenges. And the drama doesn't really kick in the first episode. There's 20 people. Like you got to intro 20 people. So I agree with a lot of sentiments here, but I think that there's a lot more potential than a lot of other reality shows we've seen. Like this has potential. So many reality shows we watch have zero potential.
Very true.
I mean-
So even putting it in the middle third is like kind of like giving it like a, like it's hard. Like it's definitely on a borderline for me for sure. Like it definitely could be put in the top third, but like I would have to give it a couple more episodes to like really place it.
I do think that like while the theme is weak, I do think that there are a lot of interesting people and characters on the season, and I'm curious to kind of see where some of those people go. But
Yeah, I mean, the theme at this point is just like the Davids, like using the David as their like rallying point, and the Goliath's just like ignoring it, like
yeah,
because no one wants to be Goliath in the story of David versus Goliath, so it's like kind of odd.
It didn't end great for Goliath.
Did not, no, did not.
So you watched the whole season. We're gonna get some updates.
We should.
Ooh.
So
all right,
committed myself.
he's in.
All right, so we've gone super long this week, so I think that's it for us.
Special episode 100, extra L pod.
Extra large extra special show. Didn't turn out, as well as probably most people would assume, I guess.
We needed
This-
those. We needed those redneck margaritas for episode 100.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is probably the reason why we waited up to 100 to do Survivor. Like, no one was really excited to be doing it, so this is what happens.
All right, we gotta do an insane show next week.
All right, Max.
We'll do gigolos again.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at HoopWithUsOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/HoopWithUsOn. You can email us questions and suggestions at HoopWithUsOn@gmail.com. Please rate us on iTunes. It really helps. And we'll see you guys next time.